Hello and welcome to Fresh Off the Dome. This is all your killer and no filler podcast where we just like talk about one topic and get through it. Just talk about it till we're blue in the face. We just have to get it off our chest. And now, for now, I should introduce myself. I am Brian obviously Jackson, and I am joined by the lovely Kaylie Woomer.
Hi, Nabeshin.
Hey. um. So I had to say this first of all. Because we're talking about the Bruce Timm DC animated universe, which is Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series, Static Shock, Justice League Unlimited, and I guess the Zeta Project, and also Batman Beyond. Let's not forget that. But I have to say this about this, Kaylie. This has been a topic like I probably waited my entire life to talk about with somebody because it's so weird. I can't think of like a moment because I've watched these things for almost half my life, like probably 14 years, about from like the very beginning to like when it ended in 2006, I think it was. But I never had anybody to actually like talk to about this. Like I had Alex for certain things, but like not for like everything, not as much as I deep down as I wanted to get into. And there's certain things I'll never forget like when I first watched the first episode of Justice League Unlimited, and they panned around like all the heroes there, and then I saw like the Creeper there. I'm like, why the fuck is the Creeper there? And there was like no one to talk to about that. So I finally found somebody who could like understand where I'm coming from. So I'm happy that you're here.
So good. I don't get a lot of nostalgia about like old cartoons from my childhood. So I didn't watch a lot of cartoons as a kid. But anytime I hear just the start of the Batman animated series theme music, I get so pumped.
So let's start with that. Were you there from the beginning? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I loved Batman the animated series as a kid, and then I loved Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and then eventually 2006, and then Teen Titans happens, and Teen Titans was all I was about. But I actually didn't even know Superman the animated series was a thing until like 3 or 4 years ago. I started buying all of the Justice League and Batman animated series DVDs. And so my boyfriend at the time was like, oh, the Timm-verse, blah, 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 blah. Did you ever watch Superman? Superman, what the hell? So it's really weird. Somehow I was really, really into this whole universe, even as a kid, and then I missed the whole huge chunk. Like, to me, it was like Batman, The
Right.
New Adventures of Batman, Justice League Unlimited, and then Static Shock was in there when I was getting ready for school in the morning.
But yeah, I think for me is I remember like when like Batman the animated series first premiered. Like it was like on I think it came on like because it was like a late night premiere. And I think that came on like right after The Simpsons or something. I think the first episode they showed was the Catwoman one. With the I think it's like the Red Claw or something like that. The Red Tiger or something like that organization she went against. Basically her premiere episode as Catwoman. And like I was just like looking at this, like, wow, this is so like even I think I was 6 years old at the time, but like it was like something that was like I just like was like mouth agape of like how amazing it was. And then like it's just a series that carried on from that to Superman the animated series when it like was on Kids WB. And then it's transformed into like the new adventures of Batman and Superman, where it's like this combined the shows together.
Yeah, and that's why like I don't know. I was like, oh yeah, Superman was in the Batman animated series. The New Adventures. Like, no, he actually had his own show. I'm like, what the? So I was like, yeah, Superman when Robin and Nightwing and all them started hanging around all the time, aka the New Adventures. That's when Superman and Lois Lane started hanging out. Yeah, I've seen shit. No, I was wrong.
And it just like not spiraled, but like it just kept going. It was just like from the new episode of Batman Superman, and then it went from that to immediately to Batman Beyond. It was like, okay, fucking awesome. And then like it went from that to like Cartoon Network, where it did like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, while it still did Static Shock on Kids WB. So it was like
it took me a long time to realize that those shows were connected, because I always watched Static Shock on the Kids WB, and I liked the fact that it looked like all my other favorite cartoons. aka everything in the Timm-verse.
Hmm.
So I watched it and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's a superhero I've never heard of, but whatever. It looks like all my Batman stuff. And then later, once I realized that, like, oh no, all of these cartoons are supposed to be connected and they are all, the same universe. And by the way, that's why Static Shock had the exact same animation style and all of those crossovers.
Hmm.
Joy. But at the time, I was like, wow, WB and Cartoon Network are getting along and able to do crossovers with each other's shows. Like, it never occurred to me to look to see if the people making them were the same people as a kid.
Yeah, and like I think like the best thing about like this universe in general is like it made me understand or made me appreciate like continuity in general. It's like
Yeah.
it's something like I never really thought about or really put a grasp to. Like, I was there from like Power Rangers and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, all the same characters are moving on, and like some just like decide just to live in Africa for whatever reason, and just like this, oh, let's take my cousin, my Asian ancestor, and like she'll be the new Power Ranger or something like that. There's your
Yes.
continuity for that. But like you're talking like something like, oh, Zatanna was in Batman the Animated Series for one episode, and then like eventually she's in Justice League, and then she makes a reference from saying, oh, I remember you, Bruce, from that time where when we did the thing in Batman the Animated Series, like fucking like almost 10 years ago or something like that. And it's like that's crazy, and like I actually know that, and it's
Yeah.
like,
I
and that,
think that
mm-hmm.
a lot of people still today don't appreciate how well, just starting with the Timm-verse, especially as a child when you're, I don't know, open to new ideas, how well though that universe trains you to be a comics fan, because it trains you to remember 18 issues ago when Zatanna was in one panel, and hey, you know how Static Shock is doing all of this random shit in this city while the fucking Justice League are saving the world. That's how
Mm-hmm.
comics work. Like, everybody's off doing their own thing, and then they kind of drift together when it makes sense, and then they fall apart again. And it really teaches you how everything can feel so far apart. Like I said, Static Shock was its own thing, and there were these cool random crossovers with like future adult shock and what the fuck. That's a comic book ass plot line. Like, it
Yeah,
just
my
teaches
God.
you to think the way you have to think to enjoy comics. The ability to juggle multiple storylines, where it's like, why don't they just call Static when they need extra help? It's like, Static's busy, okay? And he's a kid, and it's just the whole thing.
Yeah,
Um,
it's basically Spider-Man Homecoming before Spider-Man Homecoming. So.
exactly. And so, now the Marvel Cinematic Universe has kind of picked up that mantle in a way where it's like they don't really do as much, I feel, because to me the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a little bit more like comics light. Like, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to remember a lot of characters that are going to pop up 5 movies from now. It's pretty much like you have your main people and the people that don't matter. And
Right.
so I think it's an even more starter comic book mindset train.
Mm-hmm.
um but the thing that Justice League in particular probably did the most for me was, you see Creeper, and then it's like, who the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I found out it's the Creeper. Okay, now I have to read everything about him. Okay, like, Hawkgirl. What the hell is a Hawkgirl? Okay, why she got a giant mace? Okay, let me Google that. All right, now I know. And so, like, it teaches you to care about heroes that normally don't get a lot of playtime in a movie. Obviously, you
Right.
see when movies come out, it's going to be the same people, the tent poles. But especially with Justice League, and obviously Justice League Unlimited, um, they really, really, really focused on shining light on lesser known heroes. I mean, Booster Gold was in there twice. That's amazing.
Oh my God, that episode is amazing. It's so good.
And in the movie Batman and Harley Quinn, Booster Gold is voiced by Bruce Timm.
So good.
Like, how cute is that? Like, that's just so good. It's way too good.
like
Um,
like I don't want to get on
love it.
off the topic a little bit, but like that Booster Gold episode, like is this in particular, like is this like him coming from the future and like he knows all these things, but like Batman is like you're like an underling, like you're in the rookie squad, like stay down here, like Batman is still so like above level of him, and him just being like someone who's like, oh, I'm from the future, I'm super famous, and like you guys will need me, right? Like, no, we don't fucking need you. Like, you're down at the bottom ring. So that episode was
Okay,
so
Booster
good.
Gold, go clean the latrine, earn your base. You
um
think you're special? Got like 9 aliens and a fucking Amazon in the back. Like, come on.
yeah,
Future?
exactly.
Are you still living? Lame. Like, be like half cyborg and then come back and talk to me.
But like like you nailed the nail on the head with about like because I feel like it doesn't get enough credit. Like we give Batman the animated series a lot of credit, like just that in particular, just that bubble in particular. But like I don't think we give enough credit to like the Bruce Timm-verse as far as like bringing stuff like continuity, like because like continuity is everything now. As far as like Adventure Time has fucking continuity in it. So like everything is just like circles around this one universe about like like continuing the story and like little things matter from episode one matter in episodes but near the end game or something like that, and like you get crossovers from like different shows and stuff like that. So it's like that was the one like I said, I just don't think it gets enough credit for what it did, or like I don't think people know about it enough. Like
I would especially say like the fact that I didn't know Superman existed. I definitely think that in terms of cartoons, especially, the thing that immediately grabbed people to Batman, and because Batman was the first, that's going to be it sets the tone, and so it's going to be referenced a lot, but I'm going to try to avoid referencing it as much as possible to make this point. But when Batman came out, it was very dark. I didn't like Batman Beyond as a kid because it was too scary for me. Like that was my limit. Right. So I was older because it just everything about it was so like unsettlingly familiar but different, which was the whole point.
Like that whole intro alone is like will scare the shit out of you.
But like I said, the Batman animated series intro I remember so vividly because it's just that like the black and the lightning and the dark macabre gothic style, and as a kid like you're not used to that, and I think that tone set a very important precedent for the rest of the Timm-verse, where things get dark. And I think that a lot of people don't realize just how new that was for a TV show for kids. And again, going back to continuity, in the 80s, all of those big 80s cartoons, He-Man, Rainbow Bright, all those were all designed to make toys. They'd have a character, they had just as many characters coming in as Justice League Unlimited. But the difference between them and what the DC animated universe was able to do is, we have a tight budget and we want to make as many toys as possible. Shitty characters we don't care about for one episode each, not develop them at all because they're never coming back. Toy. Whereas with the Timm-verse, they were able to characters and produce hundreds of fucking toys to appease the monetary aspect of children's cartoons, but do it in a way where the characters mattered.
Yes.
I want to buy that He-Man figure because he looks cool. It's like, saw Zatanna on the second episode and I forgot how cool she was, and did you know that there's a Zatanna figure? I'm gonna go buy it.
Right.
Treating children with a little bit more, I'm not quite sure the best word, not respect, but just not insulting their intelligence in such a way.
Right.
Where now, as an adult, you can go back and watch those shows and you don't have that, like, I'm watching a little kid show feeling. Try watching Blue's Clues in your 20s and it feels very condescending. But
right.
if you go back and you watch any of the animated universe TV shows, movies, anything, they're really captivating. Just no matter how old you are, no matter how much you know about comics, they don't do that thing where, this is Batman, do you know his parents are dead? But they do make sure that if it's something that isn't common knowledge, you're going to be aware of it. Like, I didn't have to Google that Fenrir Steel was impressive. It's just, they make that clear throughout the show. So I think it was really a turning point in children's programming where people, especially in the 90s, were kind of realizing that they could make programming that met all of the requirements of churning money out of these sticky little fingers, but at the same time, something that the parents wouldn't hate to watch, and something that really made kids think in a way that, I don't know, earlier cartoons didn't.
Yeah, totally. Like 100%. Like there's nothing more I can add to what you said.
But like nobody talks about that, and so I think you're right. They get credit. No one's saying that no one talks about the Timm-verse, but people don't really sit back and look at it, what it did for making comics mainstream, what it did for making shows like Adventure Time, like Steven Universe, things like that. It really set the groundwork to be able to produce shows with a lot of meaning and getting a little scary and getting a little complex
dark.
and dark. And so, it really opened a lot of doors for children's programming that I don't think gets talked about as much as as a comics fan, the Timm-verse is cool because it did cool stuff with comics. It did so much more than that.
And like, speaking of like that in general, it's like, because there's so many adaptations, like pretty much everything. And like as far even Batman in general, like Batman, Batman Brave and the Bold, like we have so many adaptations of Batman, and like for the most part, I feel like, or at least from my experience, from the people I talk to, like there's no real complaints about like how like the overarching story just went from this series. Like I never felt like there was like a moment where it's like, oh, that character is not accurate to what it should be, or like, oh, that character sucks or something like that. I think like people like Robin evolved the Nightwing. Like that was an amazing moment for like when I was a kid. I was like, oh, so like good. He's someone more.
The concept of that, yeah, like introducing like first Robin was this one character, and now there's a new Robin, and like as a kid when you're first watching like X-Men cartoons and shit like that. You don't really see that, and it can be kind of confusing. I've learned the hard way. Telling people like, "Oh, your favorite character is Robin? Which one?" And then they're like, "I'm pretty sure there's two, right? I'm pretty sure there's two." And the only reason people think that there's two is because of the animated universe. Like prior to that, there would have been one. I will say, I have one. I have one point where I disagree, and my one point of contention with the entire Timm-verse of all of the storylines they've done, of everything that they've kind of played around with, the only thing that ever truly bothered me was the Barbara Gordon Batman relationship in Batman Beyond. When they introduced that, anytime that, and they started, I think there was a comic recently that did that, and I just in general I find that relationship very uncomfortable and creepy and unsettling. So it had nothing to do with how they handled it, but just in general, I don't think there's a way you can handle that relationship to make me not find it creepy as fuck.
Yeah, because like what he's like maybe like
your dad
in his
can't
40s?
Screw your girlfriend, like that's so fucked up.
Like, cause like, oh god, like if I remember right, if I remember right from the anime series, it was like god, like he had to be at least in his like 40s or something, and she was just getting into college, so it was like you talking about like maybe 18, 19, 20 to like someone who's like in his mid to late 40s, like
who's like known her forever, whose son is obviously still in love with her and was dating her, and then they broke up. Like the whole thing is just that's the one part, like whenever I think of Batman Beyond, I think of that, and I just like it taints Batman Beyond for me.
I want to talk about this too, like Batman animated series in general, because like we both had the DVD, so like we have like volume 1, 2, and 3, which are pretty much the same thing, pretty much same tone, very Bruce Wayne, very Batman-esque, and then we go to like volume 4, which is like not necessarily like a total shift, but like it's like it's a shift in animation, it's a shift as far as tone, still the same characters, still the people you love and stuff like that, but it's like it shifts a little bit, because like when you look at the first 3 volumes of Batman the Animated Series, it's like they're all like, it looks like very 1920s or something like that. Everyone has a Tommy gun for some reason.
Yep.
People wear fedora.
Twist awesome.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, Tommy guns like
hell yeah.
Everyone has fedoras and trench coats. It looks very old timey, and like
everyone's talking like they're at a 30s speakeasy. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
And then when we shift to like the 4th volume, is like that's pretty much all gone. And like I want to talk about like the constants from in the Timm-verse. Like the one constant that we have from like in every version of like every show is Batman. And like I don't want this is not a Batman podcast, but we're talking about Batman. But Batman from like the first 3 volumes are like there was a very clear like he was still Bruce Wayne, he was still Batman. Like there was not complete divide. He was still more Batman than Bruce Wayne, but you can still see like Bruce Wayne was more still of a person at that time. Like he was like infatuated with Selena Kyle. Like for real, like if you just took like the 3 volumes of Batman and like ended it after that 3rd volume, like I would say like it would be kind of like what's happening now with Batman, where like he proposed to Selena Kyle. I could see that being in the future. I could see like he eventually like giving up his cowl and giving that to the Robin, because like there was like still some respect there at that time, and like there was like a totally different tone from that. And then when we get to the 4th volume, it's pretty much like Batman more or less just being a dick to everybody, and like he's he's more standoffish. Like he brought in Tim Drake to be like the new Robin and everything like that, but like he lost Robin in exchange for that, and like you seen how that fallout was like so bad. And like that's when like you could see like he was just like 100% Batman all the time, like. And like I think that's so fascinating because like cause like I just recently watched Mask of the Phantasm. I rewatched that movie
Oh,
again.
okay.
Like, and that movie's like
Yeah. Ooh,
fucking
that's a good
fantastic.
one.
Yeah, and like I remember, and I saw the scene where he was at the graveyard of his parents, and he was just talking to them. It's like because he was so in love with Archie at the time. He's like, and he was very conflicted. And of course, this was before he actually became Batman, but like he had a plan, and he was going to stick to that plan. Then when he met Audrey, the woman he was infatuated in that movie, he was like I'm like, it doesn't hurt anymore. This doesn't hurt anymore. Like I think I can actually like have a life and be with this woman that I love. And like I'm just saying, like I'm not going all around with this, but like I'm feeling like there was a like I feel like Bruce Wayne actually died in like those 3 volumes. Like the
Yeah,
humanity
I think
of what he is, and then like when he eventually became Batman, is just like full Batman all the time. Which I love that Batman. Don't get me wrong, but like you see what he becomes in Batman Beyond. He's a bitter old man who's just by himself, fucking forever, and like it's always
But like,
the
what do you expect for Batman though? Like we all know they don't show Batman old very often because it's very hard to have an old Batman that's not just a sad, lonely, bitter old man, to be
mm.
honest. Um so a couple things off that. One, I think that's a great point. First off.
Thank you.
Two, I think that especially what I look for when I watch versions of Batman, whether it's a new comic run, a new movie, whatever you have, the thing that I pay attention to the most is not how they portray Batman, because to be totally honest, I think that's kind of easy.
Mm-hmm.
Batman, when he's just Batman, is that he's just angry and focused and vigilant and just all in and can be almost a one-dimensional character. So to me, like when people go, "Oh, Christian Bale was the best Batman," I'm like, any jackass with a cowl can be a decent Batman. Like
Right.
that's not impressive to me. What's impressive to me and what I pay attention to is how they handle the Bruce Wayne aspect of Batman. Which again, playing off that, I thought Christian Bale was a terrible Bruce Wayne because every time he was on screen, I was waiting for him to go on him like All American Psycho and just start murdering people.
Right.
Not his fault. It just so happens that Patrick Bateman is literally Bruce Wayne without the Batman. Like, so anytime he was like dressed as Bruce Wayne and Christian Bale's got kind of those like fangy incisors and he just make that smile and I'm like, are you a vampire? Are you gonna eat her? Like, it was so creepy to me. But I think it's important because one of the reasons Batman and Superman are such good friends and have such a good dynamic is because they are such an interesting juxtaposition. And I think what's kind of not a particularly unique thought, but a particularly important one is that one of the fundamental differences between Batman and Superman, or Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, is that Superman is Clark Kent and he puts on the Superman persona to fight crime.
Mm-hmm.
Batman, Bruce Wayne, is Batman. And he puts on that Bruce Wayne persona to barely function in society. And so
Yeah.
I do think that plays a part of it, where as you see these things happen to him throughout the first 3 volumes that make that Bruce Wayne persona even less meaningful than it already was, and less important to withhold, uphold, and less desirable, because the Bruce Wayne persona is the persona that gets hurt. Batman's parents aren't dead. Bruce Wayne's parents are dead. Bruce Wayne's female relationships always fail. Master of the Phantasm being a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Wayne's son left him and then he fucked his son's girlfriend. Like, these things happen to Bruce Wayne. These things don't happen to Batman. When he's Batman, the world is very simple. The world is, when you see evil, eliminate it, and you don't really have to think about much else. And so I do think that as a character, the longer you show Batman just interacting with the world, the more he's going to become Batman and less Bruce Wayne, because Batman is the shell that Bruce Wayne retreats into when things get tough, and things only get worse and worse for him.
Oh yeah.
The older he gets. So, I think it makes a lot of sense. also think that even just from a logistical standpoint, as the show gets going older and older and older, the focus becomes less on Bruce Wayne and how he juggles being Batman and all these pretty ladies that he talks to. And you get more characters. You get, your Batgirls and your Robins and your Nightwings. And when there are more characters to introduce, those characters are characters that are most active when he's Batman. And so naturally, the show is going to spend less time on him as Bruce Wayne. So I think there's kind of two things playing in it at once, whereas as the character ages, he becomes more Batman. But at the same time, when the show is about Batman and friends, eventually they're not going to have time to be showing him going on his 15th failed date.
Right. And I guess the elaborate on Batman's love life a little bit more, like like when you think about it, it's like I think about Audrey and like Master Phantasm, and like that was like his first love, not his first love, but like his love at the time, like someone very just for Bruce Wayne in that persona. Then you have Selena Kyle, who loved Batman, didn't love Bruce Wayne like at all, like thought he was a good friend, but like she loved Batman, so like you can't really have that relationship either. Talia al Ghul, like that's a whole can of worms on itself, as far as like like you're going against my morals, even though I do love you, like you're going against my morals, and like for both sides, like I'm trying to like help my father do this thing, and like he's like, I'm not going to kill anybody, all this stuff. So that relationship can't work. And then we finally get to like Wonder Woman and Batman, whereas like that seemed like the one that could work. It never really got to the point where we got to a satisfying conclusion with that, where like like they actually come somewhere with it, or they just break it off. But like I thought that relationship was like actually like something that could work. That's probably the one that would work the most, I would think, for him.
So I am a huge Batman Wonder Woman shipper. So
okay.
Buckle the fuck up. Yeah, so one, the voice actress that plays Wonder Woman is on record saying that the only man that Wonder Woman will ever love is Batman. I mean, so, she knows Wonder Woman. But what a lot of people don't know, and I'm excitedly realizing you might be one of them, is that in the Justice League Unlimited comics that continued after the series...
Oh, didn't know this.
Our Wonder Woman goes to the Justice Lord's world from the episode A Better World, where that Wonder Woman has since died.
Oh.
And marries and spends the rest of her life fighting crime next to... It ends up being Earth 60 when the multiverse came out after the New 52, before the New 52. But the Justice Lord's universe is an actual universe in the comic books now, as is the DCAU universe. So fun fact, the DCAU universe is Earth 12.
Okay.
Is where the entire animated universe takes place, and in continuity, they are currently in the Batman Beyond time frame. End of the comic book Wonder Woman is that she does end up with Batman, but when our Batman from our Earth is busy doing all of the shit that he does, and you find out about in Batman Beyond and the such, Wonder Woman leaves to another fucking reality.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so it all works out in the end. Yes.
Oh, that's so good.
There's actually a lot of really cool things that get summed up in the extended comics that take place after the after the series ends up. Another fun one is that Jon Stewart and Vixen were going to get married, and then Vixen is killed by one of the enemies that Jon Stewart's made over the years. And so Jon Stewart and Shayera, Hawkgirl, get back together and move to Vixen's little hometown in Africa and spend the rest of their lives helping orphans in Africa married.
And that's when they had their baby. Hawk.
Baby.
God, what's his name? Do you know his name? But like
he's some future.
Yeah, but like
he's huge. He's like the
like
the big old fucking. I can see him in my head too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was really interesting that those two kind of love stories that never got settled, actually, they finally give them an ending of some kind.
Okay.
I did also want to note, just kind of going back to Batman the Animated Series for a bit, so that I can just kind of cross that all off the list. When people think of the Batman Animated Series, a lot of times they think of, the episode Mad Love. Obviously, we can't have this conversation without talking about Mad Love.
One of my favorite episodes.
The DC Animated Universe, created Harley Quinn. That's pretty common knowledge at this point. And so a lot of people are like, thank you, Bruce Timm, for creating Harley Quinn. You gave comics a great character. What a lot of people forget is that the Timm-verse also gave us Renee Montoya, who is
Mm-hmm.
my favorite, The Question. I love her relationship with Batwoman. She's a Hispanic lesbian cop, like just fucking badass.
I just found that out like recently that she was the Question. And I was like, oh my god, that's so good.
Female Question is so freaking cool. Oh, she's awesome. But yeah, so Renee Montoya is from the DC animated universe, originating in Batman the Animated Series. So is Mercy Graves, Lex
Oh,
Luthor's Asian assistant. So and then the last thing that a lot of people don't realize, like they give, so I feel like the Timm-verse has this thing where it's given credit, but not proper credit.
mm-hmm.
Example, um, Heart of Ice is an incredible episode.
Yes, yes.
Just like another one you have to talk about. So, of course, I'm going to talk about it right now. Heart of Ice, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically the origin story for Mr. Freeze, which most people know. You know, his wife got sick, he froze her. He becomes crazy supervillain trying to unfreeze his sickly, dead, almost dead wife. Long story, but we all know it. What a lot of people don't realize is that when that episode came out, Mr. Freeze was just some random weird dude with a cold gimmick that the Joker had murdered.
Mm-hmm.
He was dead. The entire concept of Nora Freeze, that character was created by the DC animated universe. That entire backstory for Mr. Freeze was created by the DC animated universe. And that episode was so well received that DC Comics brought Mr. Freeze back to life and retconned his origin to match.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot of people think of the lasting legacy of the AU to be Harley Quinn, which I definitely think is warranted. I mean, look at the bitch. But Mr. Freeze, no one would give a fuck about if it was not for the DCAU and the episode of Heart of Ice, which a lot of people give credit to as being an amazing episode and an amazing retelling of the Mr. Freeze origin. But it's actually not a retelling. It's at best a retcon, and or I guess I should say at worst a retcon, and at best just inventing an amazing backstory for some random throwaway character.
And I think how much of that character has grown through the series. Like, you know, like him,
Yeah.
his origins there, and then like eventually in like volume 4, he's just pretty much just ahead. And like
Yeah.
and then in Batman Beyond, they bring him back again, and like, oh my god, like that whole
And like
arc of
every
his story.
of Mr. Freeze, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze, and his backstory, again, based on the DCAU one. So you can
Mm-hmm.
blame Bruce Timm for that, I guess. Oh, maybe you shouldn't have said that. Mr. Freeze in any of the Arkham games, you know, that beautiful kind of journey that he goes on, all of that would not have happened if it wasn't for Heart of Ice. And it's not just an amazing episode, it's probably the second most significant thing they did under Harley, because I mean Harley, like especially now after like last year's Suicide Squad and everyone's Harley Quinn all the time, and just like it's Harley fucking mania now. So I would definitely say Harley's still probably the most important thing that the universe gave, just as an individual thing. But Mr. Freeze owes his existence still to that show.
For sure.
Yeah, I think basically they created 4 really important female characters of different ethnicities that all have stood the test of time, and that's really neat.
For sure. Like God, like obviously like Harley Quinn is like one of my loves. Like I love her to fucking death. Not so much recently. Like her character has been like so kerfuffle lately.
Yeah, it's gone through a lot of changes. Right now, they're kind of in this weird, like, female Deadpool place with her in the comics, which is fine. We don't have a Deadpool in DC, so, you know, might as well use Harley. As long as she's not with the Joker anymore, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the fuck that.
Toxic relationship.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, fuck that abusive relationship. Ugh. But like, when I think of Harley Quinn, like, God, like I was just so in love with her, like her accent, just the way she carried herself, and like especially like whenever she like broke away from the Joker and like teamed up with Ivy, and like even that one episode with her, Ivy, and what was it, Livewire, and like how to go get like Batgirl and Supergirl. That's such a good episode.
Oh my god, that's such a good episode. Or even like, so the DC animated universe was officially put on hiatus at the end of Justice League Unlimited in 2006. And in subsequent interviews with Bruce Timm in 2008, 2009, he always said the same thing. You know, there's no plans to restart the DCAU, but never say never, which is basically the only response you can give to a question like that, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year, Batman and Harley Quinn comes out, and what does Bruce Timm say? In my mind, this film is in the DCAU continuity. Oh, we're back, baby. Like, let's do this.
I know, for real.
Like, Young Justice just got a 3rd season. Anything is fucking possible now. Let's go.
Let's keep it moving. Bring back Teen Titans. Like, that's the only thing left.
Or like, oh my god, I just had the greatest idea, and I think I almost died. Bruce Timm-verse version of the Teen Titans.
Ooh.
Like the Teen Titans animated series. Because Teen Titans was an amazing show, as everyone should know.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely had that, like, anime influence, as I kind of call it, fake anime-ish vibe, which I loved. That fucking Puffy Ami Yumi theme song, what's good?
Yep.
But can you imagine, like, the Teen Titans in that Bruce Timm art style? Just,
It's yeah, like it's funny too. It's funny too because like what was the episode? It was with the Royal Flush Gang in Justice League.
I love the Royal Flush Gang.
Like because like for people don't know, like they got brought up in Batman Beyond, and it was like showed like the Ace, the King, the Queen, and all the rest, and then like and they got introduced in Batman Beyond, and then eventually during Justice League, when the Justice League started coming out, because it came out after Batman Beyond, it showed like the origins of where the Royal Flush Gang actually came from. It came from the Joker, and then like they had their whole squad, like all 5 of them, and like and like every character was a voice, the original voice actor from the Teen Titans. I kind of think the Teen Titans like canceled by that time, so like I was freaking out at the time when like to see like hearing like Robin's voice. It was so good.
I was so good, and like that episode alone is also really good when Batman's just sitting on the swing with her. Oh my god, it was so powerful. And of course, in my head I'm like, he's swinging with Raven and she needs some love. Fucking love Raven. Like, basically I just want Raven in the DCAU. I could take or leave anything else. Please just leave me alone. Please.
But like I guess we'll move on from Batman now because we talked that to death. But like
right, it's so hard not to.
I know, believe me, I know. So like let's do Superman. Like how did you like Superman the animated series?
So what's really weird is that like in the DCAU, Batman and Lois Lane kind of date for a minute, and that's real weird to me too. Like Superman, stop fucking Wonder Woman. That's obviously Batman's girl. Batman, why the fuck are you hitting on Lois Lane? Like, so that was really interesting. And so this is gonna sound really unusual, but my first time watching a superhero cartoon was late at night. I believe on Cartoon Network. They would show really old black and white cartoons, and I would watch the black and white like 1940s Superman cartoons.
I did too. I'm on the same page with you.
So in those cartoons, Lois Lane is a psycho murder bitch. She tried to push Clark Kent into a volcano. She tried to push Clark out of a helicopter. And then that bitch is like, literally there was an episode where some mad scientist is in a volcano island lair working on a death beam. And Lois Lane and Clark Kent find out at the Daily Bugle, and they look at each other, and then Lois Lane's just like, I'm fucking going there. Takes a helicopter, flies to the island, immediately gets kidnapped, and then her plan was walk in and be like, hey, mad scientist, not okay. Like, what are you doing? You can't sense danger. So I've always had a really, really hard time with Lois Lane. So to me, if you can make me like Lois Lane in an adaptation, you've done a good job. Because to me, Lois Lane's personality traits are bitchy, no sense of self-preservation, wants to murder Clark Kent for promotion. Like those are her character traits in those old cartoons. So it's really weird, like while going back and then watching like something really good, like the DCAU versions. And I do like, I don't know, I like Lois Lane's pretty purple eyes.
Oh yeah, another one of my loves.
Right?
Like always wear that short skirt for some reason, but like
always easier to get tied to fucking railroad tracks and whatever she's doing. Like, she has no sense of staying alive.
They even made an episode of her dying. It's like she goes to that Elseworld. It's like, what the hell just happened? It's like, and like, you know, like Superman's like, I can't take it. I'll join Luthor just because of that. But
I have super hearing, but it's only for Lois Lane screams.
mm-hmm. Or when Jimmy has his dumb watch thing, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But God, like when I think about Superman the animated series, like obviously, like as far as like my love for Superman, like it's mostly just that version of Superman. Like it's always the point to that version. Like that's the one who like always like inspires hope. That one's like the most human because of like, you know, like you can see his weaknesses as far as like when like the time when Darkseid like actually invaded like fucking Metropolis and everything like that, and he killed that cop, and like you saw how that devastated him. Is like just
like, and again, that show gets dark. Like all of these shows, I would consider Superman to be probably the lightest show, just in tone. It always has that very hopeful, sunny kind of vibe because, of course, it's Superman. Mm-hmm. But even then, they'll say fuck it and get down and dirty.
Yeah, like the last episodes of that, like when Darkseid actually like took over Superman for like I guess like 3 episodes or something like that. But like they pretty much control Earth for a while, and like that, and it's so good because like that's the basis of like pretty much like the Justice League like right after that, because like people were like super suspicious of Superman, like what if you go out of control again? He's like, no man, I got this, and then like that was the whole first episode of Superman of Justice League. So I'm like, hey, I got this, don't worry, I can take take it just by myself, so like don't worry about it. And then eventually meets like Green Lantern and Wonder Woman and Batman, and it's like you know what, let's form a team because like apparently I can't really do this after all. So.
Oh my god, like I just the idea. So this is maybe a little bit more of an aside to the DCAU as a whole, but the complaint that people always like to wage against Superman, where it's like, oh, he's not relatable. Oh, you know, he's an alien with godlike powers. How do you relate to him? And I've always found that argument so fascinating because it's like Clark Kent was a normal ass Midwestern boy with 2 parents on a farm, growing up, going to school, got a job. He's just a mild-mannered reporter. Like, Batman is impossible to fucking empathize with unless your parents are also murdered in front of you. Like, how the fuck is Batman easier to empathize with because are you also a billionaire super genius who can make crazy tech to combat the fact that you don't have powers? I'm pretty sure you're not. But if you were some farm boy schmuck who woke up one day and realized that he could do literally anything, how would you handle that? I don't know. You know what would be really interesting? Watching someone figure out how to handle that. Like, it's so human. It kills him that he's not human. That's the point. Like, he is such, you know, like I said, like Clark Kent puts on the mask of Superman. He is at heart. Do you think he really needs to work as a fucking reporter? I'm sure if he wanted to, he could just be Superman full time and people would like give him money. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
But he just really, really wants to be normal. And the idea of someone not normal for some reason, desperately wanting to conform and just fit in and be normal, but at the same time being like, if anything bad happens in the world, I could have done something. So if I don't, I'm a bad person. And having to deal with that, to me, is just so fascinating and interesting that it really drives me kind of nuts when people are like, oh, you know, he's so perfect and omnipotent, I can't relate to him. Like, well, if you woke up with superpowers tomorrow, it'd be the same damn thing, but we would be able to relate to you because you're a person trying to figure out how to have the weight of the world on your shoulders, literally. Like, so I don't know. I think that Superman is a very fascinating character.
Yeah, and like the really interesting about him, like he's not perfect. Like, God, like there's so many times where his like he like breaks or
bad judgment calls, like just fucking bad judgment calls.
Yeah, like there was like
not all smart.
Yeah, like the time in I think it was Justice League. I can't remember which one. It was like him against like was it Darkseid again? Yeah, I guess it was Darkseid on that asteroid, and he was like, "Fuck it, like we're just doing this. Like I'm taking you out, I'm killing you right now, so you can't do anything about it." And Batman literally had to stop me, like, "Yo, we're not doing this. We need to walk away, bro. Like we can't kill this man. Like this asteroid's going to explode. It'll be good enough. You don't need to do this." And he's like, "No, fuck this." And like Batman got him out of there, but like he resented that. He was like, that was my moment. I was going to get rid of him, and I could make sure he was gone. And Batman was like, "No, you don't need that on your head."
Yeah, and it's really terrifying, but one of the comics that I love recommending to people who might not necessarily read a lot of comics and get worried about the, I don't know where to start or what to do. I always recommend people read Injustice because personally it's a totally standalone thing. So, it's non-canon. So, you don't have to worry about any other comics, currently on the fucking market or what storylines are happening or what events coming up. None of that matters. But just that comic starts so powerfully where it's like, Lois Lane's pregnant. Superman is telling Batman, I heard the heartbeat today. Like, I can hear the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this really powerful conversation between Batman and Superman. So it just starts off really fascinating. And then Joker decides he's done fucking with Batman. He starts fucking with Superman.
Bad mistake.
And he tricks Superman into killing Lois Lane. For those who don't know it's literally the first issue. I'm not spoiling anything. Yeah. This is the fucking plot. Like, right? He kills Lois Lane and he freaks out, immediately grabs Joker and puts his hand through his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just and it's like, you can't do that if you are this all-powerful, perfect, not human alien thing. It's like, no, that was a human ass. You just made me kill the pregnant love of my life. Like, no one cannot kill in that moment. And yet there's Batman going, what you just did is wrong, you shouldn't have killed him. Because Batman is far less human than Superman.
In a lot of ways, yes.
In a lot of ways. And so, if you can relate to Batman and you can enjoy Batman and you can get behind Batman, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get behind Superman, other than the fact that Superman is almost more flawed. And so it can be hard because he doesn't always do the right thing. He doesn't always make the right choice. And having to deal with the ramifications of not making the right choice when your choice dictates who lives and dies is really fascinating to me. And I like watching it. I think that Superman in the animated universe kind of doesn't always show that the way that, like, and this is kind of sound weird, but like I really like Zack Snyder's Batman or Superman for that reason, where like that Superman is constantly trying to figure out the best way to use his godlike fucking abilities, and he's constantly second guessing himself, and he's constantly wondering what the right choice is. Should I just be normal and pretend I don't have these powers? Should I be out saving literally everybody? Should I only be saving Americans? Like, should I be saving directly people and not stopping wars? Or do I have a responsibility to stop fucking wars? Like, where is that level? And Superman in the DCAU is a little bit more interesting because he's almost a more cocky Superman, which you don't see as often, where Superman's like, no, I got this. Again, just like, the start of Justice League is him going, I got this. And everyone's like, I don't think you got this. No, I got this. You don't got this. Like, you really, like, we're right here. We also have, fucking John Johns is you but green. Like, we got oh my God, can we talk about John Johns for a second? No. He's such a glass cannon. Like, Martian Manhunter will either be perfectly, like, solve the problem instantly with one of his 90 abilities, or he'll try to use telepathy and something will go wrong.
Like, every episode.
He's useless the whole episode. He's either the one or he's fucking useless. And it's always oh. I fucking love John Johns.
Oh man, I it's so funny because like I do remember like me saying that. I was like every episode this happens. It's like he either like does something or he does absolutely nothing.
He's either
like,
really useful or like the opposite. Like, he's an active burden on them if he's not perfectly useful. I can defeat them. No, they have torches.
Quick aside to like Injustice, can we just pretty much say that's just them more or less just ripping off Justice Lords from Justice League?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, Justice Lords were ripping off the Crime Syndicate, minus the fact that the Justice Lords were misguided instead of just straight fucking evil as shit. So, there's always been iterations of like the Injustice League and stuff like that. But I think what's really interesting in Injustice, as opposed to like the Justice Lords or the Crime Syndicate or things like that, those always involve everyone being on the same page. You know, in the Justice Lords, in that episode, everyone was really okay being evil until like that brief moment where Flash pretended to be dead and Batman was like, "Oh shit, my innate goodness kicked in." JK, Star-Lord, Batman, that's how we're gonna fucking escape. But in Injustice, it's really fascinating because you get to see how everyone deals with Superman's switch and picking sides. And it's literally, you know, not everyone is on Superman's side. Not everyone agrees with that decision. It's not simple as, you know, we flip a switch, Superman kills the president, aka Lex Luthor, and now we're all evil. No, that wasn't, that was realistic in the canon of the show because they were all so close knit. But in comics, you know, no matter what, Batman's never gonna fuck with someone who kills people. That's just it. And so it made sense, of course, for that Batman to be kind of like the split. But you know, Wonder Woman could go either way. In yeah, she tends to be more kill happy in most of her iterations, but she can, you know, you can use what she knows and her background to make her character choose either side, you know. Fucking Shazam joining Superman's side in Injustice, or Flash joining Superman's side in Injustice, and their reasoning and their slow kind of crumbling support for him are really, really fascinating. So I do think it is definitely similar, but I think that there's a lot of things cut from that same cloth, and what Injustice's comics do are really impressive. So if anybody ever, you know, wants just like a one-off comic series to read, Injustice has been going on for what, 4 years at this point? I think
Something
actually they just finished year 5. And so like each 12-issue run is like a year, and so it was like Injustice year 1, and it was the first year of Superman's reign, and so it's like year 2, year 3, year 4, and it's, you know, in year 3, I believe it is, all of the Greek gods try to stop Superman, and it's how Superman deals with the entire fucking pantheon, you know. So it's you know, all of the Green Lanterns and the entire Green Lantern Corps try to stop Superman at one point, and it's the war of the fucking Lantern Corps. And so they do a lot of really interesting things, playing with the idea of what would happen if just Superman became evil. How would everyone else react? Well, I think Star-Lord's was more like, what happens when the team is injured, aka Flash dying, and how the entire team reacts as a cohesive unit, and there's still that bond there. And so, you know, once you get one person in that bond to realize that they've gone too far, you kind of get all of them to realize they're douches.
I hear
that.
That
was a really good episode. About just as an aside.
Yeah, they fucking lobotomized everybody. Lobotomized Doomsday. It was a great episode.
Oh, and in the comics, they do say that the whole losing all of their powers and stuff is only temporary.
Yeah, like
gets their powers.
Yeah, I was curious about that. Like, what happened to them after that? Like, they just went back to their universe?
It doesn't. Yeah, they don't go into details about how like Wonder Woman from that universe dies, but they do make it clear that by the time our Wonder Woman goes back to the Justice Lords universe, everyone has their powers back and they've become like the Justice League again, and everything's basically normal except their Wonder Woman died. And so our Wonder Woman just kind of slips right in there.
Okay.
So if no one goes back and watches A Better World, just know that the Batman in that episode you're watching is definitely going to smash Wonder Woman at some point. I love it. Just so like, what's really cool is like Justice League ending and having, you know, that their final episode titled fucking Epilogue, and using the Justice League finale as a better finale for Batman Beyond, because Batman Beyond didn't have really, you know, it didn't wrap up in a nice clean bow. And so the fact that they recognized that, and we're like, you know, Justice League, we don't know if it's going to get renewed. This might be the series finale for Justice League. Fuck it, let's make it the series finale for Batman Beyond too. And then, like, the more into the Timm-verse you get, the more you get out of it. Like, the more shows you've seen, the more the other shows you've seen, you know, have juicy little Easter eggs and tidbits for you. Or like, I can't remember the doctor's name, but the doctor from Superman the animated series, she turns evil in Justice League.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And like, what did Superman do? All he did was like, what, push him or something like that? He got really upset by that push, and he's like,
I'm sorry, did you just become evil and start working for a shadow government after helping our asses forever, and like
Yeah,
that was ultimate betrayal to me. I was like, but you were on Superman the Animated Series. I could trust you. Like, you think you
yeah.
can take that knowledge with you and know that he's a no. Okay,
I
wow.
think I think it was him, obviously Amanda Waller, and I think it was Hugo Strange in that room as well, and maybe like a soldier as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh God, I love Amanda Waller. Like, I'm not
Mm.
gonna lie, they made her skinny in the comics for a while, and it made me kind of pissed off because I like my big old Amanda Waller. Like, she'll just
Hmm.
come in and just get the smacked at. She don't take no shit.
I guess we talk about Batman. Let's talk about Batman Beyond. Fuck. Um, God, Batman Beyond. Like in general, there's like the whole concept of it is just like so fascinating to me. Um, like
Oh yeah,
like
I
I said
think it's
about like,
interesting.
go ahead.
Yeah, it's just such a product of its time coming out in 1999 that the concept of like we throw everything into the future. And so fuck it. Let's, the millennium's coming. What's new millennium Batman look like? It's weird
Hmm.
because it is such a product of its time. It came out around the same time as Sherlock Holmes in the year 3000.
Yeah,
Fun fact. Um and all of those kind of time travel episodes of Justice League and Static Shock and things like that. Not only is time travel big in comics, but I think especially because they came out in that early millennium, everyone's real hyped about sci-fi floating cars and shit. Um, it's really interesting how something that's kind of stood the test of time and become so important could have easily just been a one season bullshit weird future Batman show if it was handled by anyone else.
yeah. And like you think what carried over from the anime series, like the Joker was pretty much just like just the Joker gang. Like like, the Joker wasn't there in that at first at least. Like the Joker wasn't there. He was just like this is pretty much his ideas were just brought onto gang members. They were pretty much like in the insane clown posse and just like just gangsters. Um,
Right? And like that's so like that would happen, right? Where you're living in Gotham, the Joker's been around for so long, even when he finally goes away, when he's away and he's not murdering people in your face, it's like how kids will like angsty teenagers will be like, "Oh yeah, Charles Manson and fucking,
yeah.
the Unabomber, we're just misunderstood dudes and anarchy reigns and um all that shit,
Hmm.
Che Guevara t-shirts. Joker is the Che Guevara of Batman Beyond.
But
Like, I don't think you understand what the Joker did, or you would not be that excited to be in his gang.
yeah, pretty
Because
much.
he would have killed you, even with you in his gang. He doesn't give a fuck about anyone.
Yeah. Um, but like God, like I'm thinking about Batman Beyond, like because I just love it in general. Like, well, let's I'm gonna be fair about this. Like, the first volume of Batman Beyond season one, that's like amazing. I think that's beginning to end. That's like almost like perfect. And but like like the rest of them is just like the rest of the episodes weren't all that great. Like you brought in Max, who was like his quote unquote sidekick, I guess, and like I guess that was something that was cool. I guess like brought more school elements to it. But like you got rid of Blight. Ink didn't really show up again, who was like pretty much their clay face for the future. Um,
Yeah, Blair was pretty interesting, I will say. I did like Ink. I thought she was kind of hot.
yeah,
She almost reminded me of oh God, from Kim Possible, Green and Black.
Shigo.
I was like, it's not Shiva, but Shiva's the only name I can think of. Shigo. Yeah, she kind of had this like kind of Shigo vibe where she might kill you, but she might fuck you. But
Mm-hmm.
like, so I wouldn't say she was his Catwoman because Catwoman had that like no like legitimately she might be in love with you thing. But Shigo and um Ink were both just like I might fuck you because I'm bored, but also I'm super evil. Like like it was never like
Mm-hmm.
interested in you as a person, but there was definitely that kind of like sexy evilness to it that I liked.
Well, like
Um,
Terry did have his Batgirl though, sort of like with 10 from the Royal Flush game. They had a
yeah.
somewhat of a relationship, but like that wasn't really anything. That was puppy love. That wasn't like
Oh yeah.
that wasn't like
And I liked
Batman
the
and Selina
Asian.
Kyle.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really like going back and like watching not watching, but just looking at the Timm-verse's characters. You realize like, wow, they did a lot of like before it became a thing that everyone talked about. They did a lot of things where like most of the characters we're creating are either going to be women, minorities, or women and minorities, and
Mm-hmm.
like seeing like, oh, Terry's girlfriend, oh, she's Asian. Like if that was an actual TV show, they would not have cast a fucking Asian chick.
For sure.
Um, because that's just we live in a shitty world and it was even worse in the 90s, but the fact that they could and so they did, and I really like that. I think that's really cool, and I go back and look and go, oh wow, there's a lot of one, like for me, I'm a girl, so like my thing is like, oh, there's a bunch of chicks, but then I can see like, I had a black friend who was like, when they picked a Green Lantern and they decided to go with Jon Stewart, that was a huge deal in my life, and I'm like,
dude, like I
I
can't
get
tell
you.
you. I can't tell you how many times like when Injustice came out or something like that, or something along those lines, or the Green Lantern Ryan Reynolds movie came out. I can tell you, like, so many people were like, man, I thought Green Lantern was black. Like, why are they changing it to some white guy? Like, they didn't know about Hal Jordan or anything like that. I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Yes, I'm like the fact that we made a Green Lantern movie in a time where Idris Elba is an actor, and we didn't make an Idris Elba Jon Stewart movie keeps me awake at night. Like, have
Mhm.
you seen that man? Put him in a mask. It looks, and like his voice and his mannerisms, he just reminds me
Yes.
so much of DCAU kind of military Jon Stewart. Like he gets it.
Like, I've seen so
Uh,
many pictures of people just like photoshopping like the Green Lantern suit on
yes,
him.
right? Like so good. So like the fact that when they could make those decisions, they focused on let's pick characters that aren't being used as much. Fucking the main six team. One of them is Hawk Girl. Well, and fuck Hawkman. He was in like 2 episodes and he was boring and shitty and no one liked him. Um, like come on, Hawkman was such a. I guess we kind of have to show Hawkman eventually, right? Like it'd be
Mm.
weird if we didn't. Like fuck it, he sucks.
Yeah.
But Hawkgirl was one of the main people with a really interesting storyline, and they didn't. They could have done a lot of different types of Hawkgirl. It's like you do the regular chick who just found the wrong amulet because she's human and it's normal, or do you go balls to the wall and make her fucking Thanagarian?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were not afraid to just be like, I know this isn't the most mainstream thing, but this is what I want to do.
Yeah. and
Um,
it's so good too, because like her whole arc with like the whole Justice League thing, like how Justice League
mm,
ended for her, like just literally just portraying everybody, like just flat out just doing
so
it.
good. Like Justice League Unlimited, like it starts off and you're like, what the fuck is gonna happen to Hawkgirl? And like
Yes.
whole relationship with Jon Stewart and just all of that. It's like, what the
and
hell?
and and that whole arc of her just like slowly getting back to church, like that whole episode where like there was an episode where it's like they told like how we're gonna vote you back in, and like it's like it showed like the people who were against her and who were with her, who was like Wonder Woman, I think Batman were against her coming in, and maybe John Stewart, I don't remember, but like I know Superman and yeah, okay. But then like we had this episode later on with like it was just literally just her and Wonder Woman going to a mission, and like Wonder Woman was not taking any of her shit. Like as far as like you're not even supposed to be here, you betrayed us, like, and it's
You're not
so
even a
good.
hero to me. You're just some fucking backstabber, and I'm not having any of this. Don't
Yes.
think I try. And then seeing them finally like get to a place where it's like, we're good again. Like
Yeah.
redemption is a possibility in the world.
Like just think about that character arc. Like there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that even today.
Yeah, I'm like most of the time, like I'm trying to think of an example where like a main character for seasons just fucking winds up betraying the team, and I am the only thing that I can think of that's close, and this is gonna sound dumb, was in Bones, where like season 3 or 4 of Bones, the cute little like hyper genius assistant ends up being the assistant of a serial killer.
Mm.
And it turns out that this entire time he's been low key helping a serial killer, and he spends the rest of the that show is like what, at like fucking season 14. He's still in jail, just like being in jail, and sometimes they visit him for Hannibal Lecter ass advice. But that's the only other time where like a main character that you just don't think about. Like yeah, no,
Yeah,
they got
like
some
the
shit.
like probably like the cliche of doing it is like you betrayed the person and then like eventually look get to a point where it's like, oh, they're about to get shot by a bullet and then die, and it's like no, and then like they have to sacrifice them, so they have to die in order for them to somewhat redeem themselves. And like no, she just redeemed herself. Like she just literally was like, I'm sorry, I'll do what I can to make this right. I'll kill Solomon Grundy again, sure, why not?
Born on a Monday. Oh, Solomon Grundy and Bizarro both have the same weird place in my heart where I'm like, oh, you're just kind of too dumb to know how evil you are. Like, aw, little Lenny's. Like,
I have a soft heart for Bizarro. He's just a dumb idiot, man.
Oh god, a little Bizarro. Oh my god. So in Injustice again, there's a really good Bizarro piece. Little Bizarro. Oh, in terms of Justice League episodes that were just amazing, the episode where they become little kids.
Yes. Oh my god.
So good.
And they made a show about that like now, like recently. I think
I would
what's it
watch that show.
called?
Oh my god, that's the best.
I like that's like one of my highlight episodes. Like let's just fucking tell like our highlights of this shit. Cause like oh man. Like what's another good Justice League one? The android. When the android comes back to kill Lex Luthor.
Yes.
After that's so because like every like as far as just like action pieces, obviously it's an action show as well, so whatever. But like everybody just like going whole hog to protect fucking Lex Luthor, like of all people. But but like like it's like a principle thing. It's like we can't let you just like fucking do what you want. We can't let you just kill Lex Luthor. So like everybody just going whole hog and just going against him. One of the episodes where Jon Stewart actually did something, so that's good for him. But like that was an amazing episode. Like everybody going against him and like no one can stop him. Nobody can stop him. It's so good. But what's another one you're
the episode? I know we've kind of talked about it before already, but the episode with Zatanna, where it's Zatanna, Batman, and Wonder Woman getting into fucking mischief. That's an crazy episode to me. Yeah, just any of the Amazo episodes are also really good. That big gold fucking android.
Yes.
I'm talking to you who I know knows everything, but I'm like, if anybody's listening to this who doesn't have an obsessive knowledge like us, I should probably like that. I keep trying to give like more information for anyone who's not insane like we are. But yeah, just not just the episode where he goes to kill him, but just like I don't know, seeing him be created, and then like that whole I'm a sucker for that like fighting humanity shit, like the little robot realizes that he's got a people heart.
Yeah.
So I think that the first episode with Amazo, where he has, just he's starting to show a little bit of personality, was really good. And then the whole I love Dr. Fate. I don't think he gets used enough in anything ever, personally. I think he's fantastic. Him and Booster Gold could just be in so much more, and I would love it. And so the fact that Dr. Fate's gonna sit there and help Amazo and just I don't know, Dr. Fate seems to be the guy that whenever someone really needs something, Dr. Fate's got your back.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's just a good, all-powerful, all-knowing fucking guy. Yeah, so those really stick out. But yeah, the Zatanna one, I don't know, the Zatanna Wonder Woman Batman episode reminded me a lot of the Teen Titans episode where Raven gets turned into a bunny rabbit.
Oh, that's a cute episode.
Which is another really cute one, favorite of mine. In Teen Titans. Not in DCAU, obviously, but so it has that same I love the old school magician magic, and so that's one of the reasons why I like Zatanna as a character in general. But I just love that kind of aesthetic where we're oh no, we're dealing with magic today. These flowers are about to turn into some doves magic. I love that. Yes, so that was really good. I wish that Justice League Dark was better. Because it was I like those characters. The movie Justice League Dark was really good, but the comic series that they started, Justice League Dark, was bad. Because I like Zatanna, and then Justice League Dark has Constantine and stuff in it. So if they were to do a DC, because they've already done so much. When I think about what happens if they got a green light to do a new DCAU show, what would they do? My heart would be obviously DCAU Teen Titans. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But I do think that would also be kind of interesting to see. I don't know, just they've had Justice League, they've had Justice League Unlimited. What about Justice League Dark, where it's just super magic-y, and you see Constantine wasn't in the DCAU. There's not a lot of characters they haven't used, but Justice League Dark is all of those storylines have been pretty much untouched. That whole there's some people that would be familiar, like Zatanna. She'd probably be a super main character, if not the main character. But that's probably what I'd like to see, either Teen Titans or Justice League Dark, because I love Teen Titans, and I don't think Justice League Dark has ever, aside from that, that movie really showed you what the JLD can do. And I think that if somebody with the right talent did something with them, it would be incredible. And who do I know that has the right talent? Bruce Dennis. Yeah.
Here's something I wanted to talk about. So I somewhat of a confession, but not really one. God, I remember when Justice League Unlimited ended. No, it wasn't even that. It was when Batman when Batman Beyond got canceled on his WB, and then like they did a new Batman show, and it's called The Batman, and I like
it was dumb.
I like I was so like against that. Like I was like, no, this can't happen. So like like I pushed
angry and it looks ugly.
I pushed everything away for that, and like for maybe like a good number of years, like I didn't get into like anything else. It's like as far as like if it wasn't in this universe, I don't give a fuck about it. Like Batman Brave and the Bold, I don't give a fuck about it. Like I didn't give a fuck like pretty much like anything. Like I didn't even watch those those animated like DC movies until like a good while longer. Because like it's like that's not my Superman, that's not my Batman, that's not my Static Shock. Like I need these characters, like I need these voices, I need these interpretations for me to like actually grow. Like for real talk though, like this universe was like pretty much my everything when I was younger, because like like I didn't get into video games till later. I didn't get into anime till later. So like you talking about something that was like I got into when I was a kid, and like until like I was like in my early 20s or maybe my late teens, like something that was been with me for so long. And like you're just like doing something different, like I can't take that. Like, and it's so weird too, because like I'm alright with like that with like with Spider-Man. Spider-Man like changed like so many times, like as far as like cartoon shows, like Ultimate Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man. Like I gave that a chance. I even gave X-Men a chance when eventually that ended, and they did like X-Men and the Wolverines and X-Men Evolution, and like, oh yeah, sure, why not? I don't care. But like for some reason, this universe is like I just can't get into anything else. Like I'm sorry.
So this is going to sound really weird, but just as an aside, the only X-Men show I have ever seen is X-Men Evolution. Okay. And if I had to pick a favorite show from my childhood, I would probably pick X-Men Evolution. It actually ruined X-Men for me. Like when I didn't know Rogue had that horrible accent, and that her huge giant 80s hair. Like to me, Rogue was like this awesome pale goth chick with like that one hot white streak, and like all of everything I knew about X-Men was from X-Men Evolution. So like my whole life, I'm like, Nightcrawler is fucking Mystique's kid, right? They're related. They're like that's a thing. And so I don't know. It's really weird that and so like I can't get into X-Men for that exact same reason, where it's like these aren't my X-Men. That's not my. Like this isn't how it works, guys. I've seen the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I will say, so like in terms of Batman, I was the same way. I never watched, any of those other fake ass, not my Batmans until years later. And I will say, for anybody who's in that position where like they haven't, or they don't want to, or they're looking for something to do after just binging the shit out of the DCAU, the closest thing I've found maybe in tone is not the best word, but I'll defend this statement, is Batman the Brave and the Bold. I think the Brave and the Bold has a lot of that. It's very kind of more campy, old school 50s retro. And so it reminds me a lot of the fact that, especially like those first 3 volumes of Batman are very Golden Age comics. And then it almost is like, after that 4th volume, it becomes more like Silver Age and stuff. So when I watch Brave and the Bold, it gives me the nostalgia of early Batman the Animated Series. And at the same time, it's constantly showing you new random miscellaneous characters, which is one of my favorite parts of Justice League. So it kind of gives you that vibe of like old school Batman. And then you also get to like see and interact with like there's an episode with the Music Meister, and the entire thing's a musical, like before the Flash did it. So it's really great. That's the one where I kind of regretted going, what the fuck is this not Bruce Timm Batman when I was younger. That one is probably the best one that I've seen that's not Bruce Timm.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was going so long.
Yeah, like it wasn't like well, like God, like if I were like, if Twitter was a thing when the Batman came out, I would put like the most vile shit on the internet. Cause I only watched like maybe like the first episode, and then like that was pretty much it. Like, oh, like I don't like this Batman. I don't like the Joker. Like the Joker got like,
it looks like that stupid Joker's all freaking Rastafarian, and what's going on?
Oh man, but like yeah, I eventually got over it. Like I'm willing to give shit a chance now. Like I like Love and Justice is interpretation and everything. It's different, and it's like it's fresh, and it's like it's interesting in its own way. So like I like it for that. I mean, it doesn't beat perfection, but it's still good in its own way.
I refused to watch Young Justice for the longest time because I was like, if I wanted to watch the Teen Titans, they'd bring back the real show. I was very anti. Like I was, and then like when everyone's like, "Oh, Young Justice, let's give Young Justice a season 3. It's so good on Netflix." I'm like, "Fuck you, let's give Teen Titans a season 6."
I still have to watch Young Justice for Alex because I know that was his thing. Like he's the one like Alex told me like multiple times like you need to get into the Young Justice. If you love Bruce Timm universe, you need to get to that. I'm like I don't really want to. Like I'm gonna give that shit a shot now, especially since like the new season's coming out soon, so I have to.
You know, Alex is great, but we can't all be perfect. That's one thing wrong with him.
The one thing.
Other than that, perfection. But you know, Teen Titans over Young Justice. You can like Young Justice, you just can't like it as much as Teen Titans. Like, and I have a feeling Alex probably likes Young Justice more than Teen Titans. In my heart.
Oh, I bet he does.
I don't even think he's seen regular Teen Titans. So you know, everyone has their one thing. Unfortunately, that's his. Bless his heart. We try every day.
Sure.
Show him the light. But it's really interesting how you don't like with other comics, like you said, with like Spider-Man and X-Men and all these things, they're constantly getting new TV shows and completely different art styles and slightly different versions of the characters. Especially someone like Wolverine, who can be PG'd to shit or like super edgy, and so like you see a lot of them, but the Timm-verse was so consistent in its style and in its tone and in its character development that it was like you said, it was weird to be like, wait, they're not doing that anymore. Like that is DC. That would be like if they just stopped making comics. Like
right.
You can't just end the DC universe, which is what this is. Like,
yeah, for real.
Is the in the same universe, but it just looks different? No, totally different. Oh, well, fuck it then. It doesn't matter.
I think I want to wrap this up with us talking about Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Like I told you before on Twitter, like probably my favorite movie of not maybe my favorite movie ever. Like it's up there.
Ever.
like I adore that movie like so much. Like just because like so many twists and turns and like things that I thought I knew that I didn't know anything about, and like obviously the Joker, one of my favorite characters of all time, especially Mark Hamill's Joker. That is my Joker as far as like when I view the Joker, like that's the pedestal you have to beat or get to for me to like actually acknowledge you as being a good Joker. Some people have gotten like Heath Ledger and like some other characters, but like but that's my favorite Joker. And like, you know, like watching Batman Beyond for like years, I was always wondering like they brought back fucking Mr. Freeze. Like, where's the Joker? Like, all we see is just a bunch of gang members and like where's the Joker? Like, there's no conclusion to this. There's no wrap up of this. And then like eventually this DVD came out of that, and like my God, like it's like one of the most like craziest things I've ever seen in my life, and I fucking love it just because of that.
I would probably credit Return of the Joker with one making me watch Batman Beyond, because again, I didn't watch it when I was a kid. I watched it for the first time maybe 4 years ago. Because it's like it terrified me as a child. It would flip on and there'd be like the Joker gang with like the twin girls, and like they just unnerved me. I would watch Scooby-Doo with like a blanket over my head. Like that's their level. So just imagine how terrifying Batman Beyond was for me. Like Batman, like to me, Terry McGinnis's outfit was so scary. It was like this all black, no face at all Batman with a red emblem, and I'm like, oh my God, he looks like a demon now. But I never watched it. But that movie, I watched it, and my roommates at the time were like, look, this is like the epilogue to Batman Beyond. I know you haven't seen it, so they gave me like a little bit of information on Batman Beyond before I obviously ended up going back and watching it, so that I wouldn't be confused. But really, it's a pretty good standalone film if you know nothing about the Batman universe alone. So they didn't really tell me much. But that movie, one, made me watch Batman Beyond, and two, and this is going to be a really weird like mental gymnastics thing, but that movie is what inspired me to learn about Red Hood and to really really invested in Jason Todd as a character, which is weird because like that movie isn't anything to do with Red Hood or Jason Todd, and Under the Red Hood wouldn't come out until what, 2000 2011.
Yeah.
So, he was not in the mainstream at all until even years later. But seeing that, I looked into that and I was like, God, what a horrible end for a Robin. Like, that's so fucked up. How has Batman managed to not get one of these Robins killed? And then I started looking up, like, at the time I only knew of the two main Robins, and I had heard about Damian Wayne briefly. I think he might have been born by this point. But I was like, oh my God, this the Return of the Joker is basically just a slightly Tim Drake-ified version of when he beat fucking Robin to death with a crowbar. Like, holy shit. And so Return of the Joker really got me into Jason Todd, which got me into reading comic books and getting more invested into the comic book storyline versions of things. So it did a lot, surprisingly. I can't even believe that I watched it in the first place, considering I hadn't seen Batman Beyond, but I'm very glad I did. It is a great film. Like, little Tim, it's like Tim Drake, basically, for anybody who hasn't seen it, well, if you want spoilers, stick around. I'll try not to spoil too much. But basically, it takes place back when, it mixes around, but it shows you what happened when Tim Drake was still Robin and Bruce Wayne was still Batman. And Tim Drake basically gets kidnapped and brainwashed by the Joker into being a Joker version of Robin. So he's like this little tiny Joker in this little purple suit, and he's got his white face paint and his crazy Joker hair. And there's just a scene where Batman finds Tim Drake after he's been tortured by the Joker. And Tim Drake's little white now head just basically turns all the way like the Exorcist, and he just starts, and his face is frozen in a smile, and he just starts laughing hysterically. And to date, I dare someone to find something fucking more terrifying.
I know.
So like that, just fucking, I can see it in my head, just burned into my eyes.
Yes.
Like, that was a powerful scene in the film, and it was animated, but just his head just turning all the way, and like, you're like, his head should stop, and it just moves a little bit more. Like, it doesn't go all the way, because obviously he's still Tim Drake and can't do not human shit, or else that would be weird. But it goes way farther than it had any business spinning around. Oh, yeah, just like another ha 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 ha, and then his head just kind of bobbles while he's laughing. It's just, it's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Like it more or less scarred me. Like, scarred me like the best way, though, because like I think about it like almost constantly, and like even that scene like right after where like, Joker's like playing a movie showing like how he tortured him, and like him just like monologuing to like to Batman, knowing that he's Bruce Wayne, is like, oh, so like you're just a guy who just like was crying for mommy, like like this is my foil I had for all these years. And Joker just started laughing, and Batman just like go through like the projection room to start beating the shit out of the Joker. Like I just, those scenes are just like ingrained in my mind. It's so good. It's so good. And I know it's more than just that scene, but that scene makes so much of like I said, just the continuity of things, like something that happened from a show I watched years ago. And like they're bringing it back with a villain from way back then, bringing him back and seeing how he like integrates into this world, and like it was like the craziest thing. And like like I love it so much.
It really shows you like because the thing that with Batman Beyond that always was a little weird for me was just how kind of hopeless it felt. Like Batman was like, basically had given up. Batman was like, I don't know, you be Batman. I can't do this shit. It's not worth it. Like, and like, Bruce and Barbara aren't talking, and you don't know why. Dick's nowhere to be found, you don't know why. And so like it just takes you from the DC anime, like the Batman series, where there's this big happy Bat family, and then you just get thrown into this world where all hope has vanished. And for the entire length of the series, you see Batman kind of start regaining that and like unburning bridges and kind of, reflecting on his past and opening up to another young kid and all that stuff. But it's not until years later when you watch that fucking movie do you realize, like, what would it take to make Batman give up all hope on society when he lives for nothing to be Batman? And it's like, oh, this is what it would take.
Exactly.
Fuck. Yeah,
I mean,
Oh man.
it took a while because like he had gray hair when he gave up, but like you could see like something like that, just like no, not like this doesn't worth it anymore.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it was as dark as it literally needed to be, and it needed to be very fucking dark. So
mm-hmm.
it's definitely a powerful movie to watch.
Yes,
And
like
again, like I would watch it even like if you're listening to this, and like, oh, maybe I'll start watching some DC animated universe shows and stuff. I would watch that movie and then see what you want to go watch next because it's so powerful. And then maybe you'll want to watch Batman Beyond. Maybe you'll say fuck it and I want to go back to the OG. Maybe you'll be like me and go, oh wait, Superman exists. Um, or maybe you'll just go all into the the final episode of Justice League and just watch that epilogue and then die. Um, but yeah, it was a really good. I wish more things like that happened. Like I think we're getting really lucky with DC, where one of the biggest unanswered questions of Batman Beyond was where's the Joker been? And years later, somehow we randomly, luckily get that in a movie. And now this Batman and Harley Quinn movie just came out, and then when Batman Beyond got canceled, and then somehow we got a real series finale because Justice League decided to use their series finale. Ended up not being, but they thought it was. They used their series finale to end a different show that came out fucking 7 years earlier. So I do think there's a lot of love for the fans there. The comics wrapping up a bunch of stuff like I was talking about. Just all of these little things are just such great. I don't know, not fan service because fan service typically means something a little bit different, but just like true service to the fans. I dig it
for sure. Before we actually close out, like any thoughts on Static Shock and the Zeta Project, which I remember was a show.
Yeah, so the Zeta Project. Tell me that you were a fan of the Zeta Project, and I'll call you a fucking liar. No one heard of it. No one, not a goddamn person. Who was in the Zeta Project? No one knows. But Static Shock was actually really cool because, again, it was on a different channel, and so like I started watching it, not realizing that it was connected at all. But I liked it because the animation style reminded me of all my favorite cartoons. And so I started watching it and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I've never heard of this superhero before. I didn't know that he was a DC superhero. So when we did those crossovers and I realized that, like, oh my God, he's in the same universe as Batman. That's so awesome. I learned from that literally from watching the crossovers and stuff. And so I liked kind of this totally unfamiliar blank slate main character of a show. And it was really cool, like, seeing, I don't know, it's weird because I talk a lot of shit about Peter Parker, but I like Peter Parker when he's in high school. I don't like Peter Parker when he becomes a 40-year-old man-child. And so Static Shock had that same kind of appeal where it's that, trying to figure out how to be a superhero, but also high school.
Yeah.
And I think it was really very cool. And I don't know, I wish it had gone on longer. I wish that adult Static was more important in like Beyond, or that Static got to be on Justice League more, because I feel like I know who Static Shock is, and I loved that fucking show, but I wish more people knew who Static Shock was.
Right.
Because he still somehow hasn't really broken into the mainstream, and I think that's a shame because he's just so fucking cool. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with, like, I don't know. I always feel like I worry about being pedantic, but one of his creators was Dwayne McDuffie. And Dwayne McDuffie is actually deceased now, for those who don't know. Sorry. He died like 5 years ago. But Dwayne McDuffie was amazing. He was really, really influential in the Timm-verse. He was just a comic writing genius, and just a regular genius. Like, in the real world, he was just a fucking genius. For people who might be interested, he also was really active in Ben 10. But I loved seeing, like, what to me, for all intents and purposes, appeared to be a very, like, the Timm-verse is Bruce Timm, and it's very much his signature. But this show had so much of, like, Dwayne McDuffie's really, really interesting characters, and I don't know, I liked it. It didn't go on long enough.
Yeah. But yeah, like I enjoy Static Shock as well. Like God, like that's like one of the main things I need to add to my collection is Static Shock. Like there were like interesting stuff like that because like being a black superhero like you had to have the race episode where like I believe his best friend's dad didn't like Static because he was black, so it was like he had an episode with that, but like other than that like I remember like characters like Rubber Band Man and like God, like there were just like some interesting characters or villains I should say in that show that I really enjoyed, and like you said with the crossovers with Batman and like Green Lantern being in there. Yeah, I would love to see that show come back, and like and also like you said, like him being in Beyond, like eventually like when he did like the their version of the Justice League episode where like where Superman was like possessed by an alien for like 50 years or something like that. No one noticed, but whatever. Let's just ignore that. But yeah, like other than our Teen Titans, Bruce Timm-verse, like if they were to bring another do a new show of that, I would like to see the future of Justice League with like like Hawkgirl and Green
Oh,
Lantern's
Next
baby,
Generation
like
Justice League.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and like
Oh.
that new Green Lantern that Asian Green Lantern that they had. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No, that would be a great show. Yes. 100% yes. Or I'd even like to just see like a Teen Titans that has Static Shock on the team because I like Static Shock as a young kid, even though that was more of a TV show thing. But I like that just to see like I don't know because the Teen Titans is always just like a bunch of people that no one's ever heard of in Robin, so it's like fuck it, there's Static Shock in there too. Who's gonna complain? Um, you're gonna be like you're come at me with your Static Shock facts. He was never a Titan. Fuck it, he is now. Let's go. I just need even more things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like his outfit and I think it's cool.
Yeah, very cool style, especially like from his like background. He was Black Vulcan, and like they just like pretty much just reworked the entire character, just like made him static and like made him have his own style and his own thing, like his fucking surfboard thing, like just using static electricity to go around with that. Like that's like the coolest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he basically because again he came out in that new Millennium flavor where everything's future, so he was just like flying on a fucking hoverboard all the time. Why? Who fucking knows? But it's great. Like it's just great.
But
it's also really cool to think about the fact that like you don't really have a lot of like when you think of like the superheroes that are really well known. I mean, surprisingly, electricity powers is not something you see very often. And so you see a couple like villains with them, but in terms of like superheroes, the closest you really get is the fact that Flash, for some reason, uses bolts of lightning for all of his symbols and stuff. Which to me, if I was Static, I'd be like, look, Flash, you run fast, use some wings. I make lightning. I'm gonna use the lightning symbol. Like you can't just take the lightning symbol, Flash. Like it's mine now. Like we would have to have a conversation. Like when he joined the Justice League and he was submitting like his colors and everything, because obviously you have to submit all of your superhero shit. So that way they make sure there's not like 9 bubble boys, whatever the fuck. Everyone's gonna have their own name. Sorry, that superhero name's taken. Please choose another. Static would definitely be like, look, I put in my application form. I wanted to use a lightning bolt as my logo, and it came back saying Flash was using it. This is bullshit.
But I think we'll wrap it up from here. Thank you so much, Kaylie. Like seriously, like this is all I've ever wanted. Like there's been years that like I've just been like fevering to talk to somebody about like this whole thing. Like just talking about like
this.
Like yeah, just this like because like I get so excited about stuff like this and like I barely get to share it with like any people and like or if I do they don't like know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, oh, did you see when Superman fought Captain Marvel and he destroyed the whole entire city and it was a whole farce? That was so amazing, right? Like yeah I'm watching Game of Thrones or something. I don't know. Like no one cares. No one cares what I like.
Like I'm pretty sure that Real Housewives is on right now. I'll I love it. It's so good. And see, now we just have to watch them together. That's the real kicker.
Oh yeah, that's the next chapter.
Or at least like the DC animated films. So I know we talked about this, but like putting aside anything in the DCAU because it's just way too perfect, of the DC animated films that have come out, I really love New Frontiers. One of the first ones that they did. It has a very golden age of comics style. Like the animation style is very, very retro and old, which I love. One of the reasons why I think Batman looks so cool in the animated series. Okay, can we just say before we wrap up, The Batmobile in the animated series is the coolest Batmobile of any Batmobile.
Yes.
Choice is the Batmobile from Batman '89 with like the fucking turbine in the middle of it. But number one is fucking animated series Batmobile. Like I just need that on record. So that history will remember that car was slick.
But let's wrap this up. Thank you again, Kaylie, for joining me.
Right.
Like, where can people find you?
Mostly on Twitter. I'm trying to work on using my Instagram more, but right now I have 69 Instagram posts, and I'm like, can't make another one.
Yeah, like you crescendoed. That's it.
I've peaked. So end of Instagram, and I'm following exactly 300 people, and I have exactly 69 posts, and it's just look all of these perfect numbers. So I just gotta stop. But you can follow my Instagram. It's the same as my Twitter, which is the same as my Twitch, which is the same as my PSN, which is, I think, the end of all the things I have. Same as my Discord. Boom, nailed it. Which is Quirk, like the word quirk, like My Hero Academia quirk, which I'm really excited that's a word now because now quirk X of X art. Because I like puns and I like using X's instead of spaces because I don't think about reading my screen name out loud to people. It's real fun. It's real fun having to say that. I hate it when people try to pronounce the X's like, those are spaces. Don't try to quirk art me. Like, that's not what that says.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard that joke a million times. It's never once been funny. Not once. Not one time. I don't even pity laugh at it. I just stare at you. Just stare at you until you apologize. But that's where you can find me.
Awesome. And this is your host, Brian Nabeshin Jackson. I'm at Nabeshin 186, Nabeshin 186. And this has been Fresh Off the Dome. Just like the whole reason for this podcast is just like moments like this. Like we just want to have something just to get off our chest. Like we have something like deep inside of us, and just like, God, I just want to talk about it. Can we just talk about this? And like this is what I want this platform to be. And it doesn't have to be just me talking on it. Like if you want to bring on your own topics and like want to just talk about it online and just like have people just hear it and have their own opinions about it, just like bring it up to me and like I'll set up a date and we'll just do something. Hopefully eventually Alex will do Game of Thrones with somebody because he says he wants to talk about it with somebody, but we'll see what that ever happens.
I heard you saying that would be interesting. Have you watched Game of Thrones at all?
No, I'm not into that.
So it would just be like, okay, you teach me, let's do this.
Yeah. But coming up soon will be me, Justin Graffius, and my friend Nicole. We'll be talking about Danganronpa, so that's something that's we'll be doing a deep dive on. So
I will most likely be playing Danganronpa for the first time at the end of this month. So
I
will do it after that because I'm very excited.
Yes. But this has been Fresh Off the Dome. Thank you again, Kaylie, for joining me for this. And like I'll see you later, guys. Keep on learning. No, not that. Bye.